Alright, if you guys have watched any of my cabin build videos, you've noticed that I have a limited capacity in my truck bed to haul lumber. And this is why. It's because of this DIY tonneau cover that I built. And it takes up a lot of room with those two side compartments, which I use a lot, and I really don't want to give those up. And when I lift up, and I only have a 6-foot bed, so when my tailgate is closed, it really limits how much lumber I can put in, because it has to go down and then up to here, and I can only put a couple of layers. So what I need is a truck bed extender, which will extend my truck bed out to 8 feet. And that way, when I've got my tonneau cover closed, then I'll still have plenty of room to stack my lumber. And if it's just 8-foot lumber, I'll be able to stack it flat and it won't fall out. And if it's longer than that, I'll be able to extend it out the back, and I'll have a much higher load capacity. So that's today's project. So let's get to it. All right, so let me see how wide of an opening I've got. Looks like 5 feet 1/4 inch. But I want to have a little bit of play in there. So if I just go 5 feet, that'll give me 1/8 inch play on either side. So that's what I'm going to go by, 5 feet wide. All right, first thing I want to do is I want to get a straight edge. I can see right here that it's not straight. So let me go ahead and make that cut. Okay, now that I've got that cut, I'm going to go ahead and mark out my 5-foot mark. Okay, my center board, I want to cut 1.5 inches shorter. So this one will be 58.5 inches. First, I'll cut my square edge. Okay, the reason why I wanted to cut that 1.5 inches shorter is so that it would be 7 or 3/4 of an inch in on either end. So that when I attach this board, it'll be flush. Okay, so I've got a location inside the bed where I want my my extender to attach, and it's 9 inches up from the bed. So I wanted this to be 18 inches high. And it's about a 1/16 shy of 18 inches. I can work with that. All right, I've got my spacing set using this cutoff. So I'm going to mark some lines here just so it's easier to line it up later. That way if it gets bumped out, I can adjust it without having to measure. Okay, I'm also going to use biscuits to help line these up. So I guess those lines are going to be dual purpose. All right, I've got it all clamped up. So I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll take it apart and check it out. All right, let's go ahead and remove the clamps. All right, I've got a problem here. The bed of my truck is a little bit lower than the tailgate. And if you see here, when I've got this board just sitting on the high spot of the bed, I'm sitting right at about 1/4 of an inch. If I pull it out onto the bed, you can see that I'm up about 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to have to make an adjustment And I think what I'm going to do is when the extender is swung out onto the bed, I need to remove 5/8 of an inch off of that side, and I need to remove 1/4 inch off of the top, which will become the bottom when it's swung inside the bed. That way I'm keeping my center pivot point. It'll make sense once I do it and show it. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to cut some elongated circles, kind of like a handle, except I want them spread out. So I've gone, this is 6.5 inches here, so I've gone 3 1/4 to find my center, and then I've got, these are 4 inches wide. So I've got these all centered in this direction and centered between these all the way down. I did that top and bottom. So I'll have 3 rows of those elongated circles, and that's to allow some air to come through. Okay, here it looks like with those slots cut out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my router, and I'm going to round over those slots and the outside edges. Well, the top and the bottom. I'm not ready to do the sides yet. All right, I've got it all the slots cut, routed, sanded, and this is looking pretty good. This is definitely the better looking side. The other side doesn't look bad, but not as nice as this side. That'll be the side that is on the inside, so it won't be seen as much. All right, so now what I need to do is work on my side pieces that are going to connect, and that'll to my pivot point. All right, this is going to be the tricky part. I've got some 90s clamped on there, and I will use that to keep myself square. So I need to get some glue in there, get this in its place, clamp it, and then I'll probably put a couple of brad nails in just to hold it in place. All right, I've got that clamped up so it's square that way and it's square that way. So I'm gonna get some brad nails and just tack it down there on the bottom. Hopefully I won't shear out. Okay, I've got my sidebars installed. Everything's nice and glued up, braced, and screwed in. So that's going to do it for part 1. In part 2, I'm going to finish, I'll finish routing around the edges, sanding, and I'm going to paint this black, and then I'll install it. So that'll be part 2. So that's going to do it for this video. I'll talk to you guys later.